Hey, what's up, YouTube? So I'm here today with a custom bob wig from start to finish. So the first thing you want to do is fold the frontal in half and line it up with the front of the dome cap with the hairline. Now you just want to take a stick pin and just stick the back of the frontal to secure it. And then you want to pull the sides down really tight for a flat frontal lay. So now we're gonna start sewing the frontal down, and you always wanna start in the middle and work your way to the ends. You never wanna tie a knot when you're sewing. You just wanna pull it and loop it around like so. Not tying knots really helps the frontal lay flat and for a flat surface for when you're done with your wig and you're smoothing it out. So now that we're at the end, the best thing to do is sew through the dome cap, through the rubber part, and double knot it on the ends for extra security for when you cut the excess cap off. So when I'm sewing my tracks in, I like to make one end shorter than the other to give a really flat lay. And I like to sew the track together so it can stay. And then stick the needle through the end and begin to sew. Please do not sew on the frontal. Start as close to the frontal as you can and begin to sew, because you want to be able to replace your frontal when it starts to bulge, or you want to get a new one without having to reconstruct a brand new wig. So now that we're at the middle and we're almost done with the construction, I like to start to sew my tracks and starting from the middle and working my way up so I can get a straighter sewing. Like, as you can see, I started off doing it like U-shape, and then I started bringing the tracks through the middle and then working my way up until I got to the top. And when you get to the top, you want to start singling your tracks and stop doubling them so that it can be really flat. Now that we're at our last track, you want to sew the track to the frontal the same way we sewed the frontal to the wig cap. No knots, just round and round. Now it's time to cut the excess cap off of the wig. Bleaching your knots are so important to get a really natural scalp. When I'm bleaching my frontals or closures, I like to just press the bleach in just a little bit so that it can really seep through just a little bit to just make those hairs a little blonde so that it could really blend with your scalp and you don't see those black knots. Like here, it's really bleached out to perfection, and I'm just combing out the hairs and plucking them with a tweezer. When you get to the tweezing phase, you want to do minimal plucking. Now that she's all dried and ready for pressing, so that we can get started with the cutting process. Part your wig into small sections so that you can make sure that it gets straight as possible. If you're not a professional, using a stovetop hot comb might not be the option for you. Try going and purchasing you an electric hot comb, which is also a product of the month when you visit www.chicbythelayers. Product I just used on a wig was called BioSilk, which is also a product of the month. I love, love, love BioSilk. It smells so good and it gives the hair perfect shine without weighing it down. Always use a measuring tape when trying to figure out where you want to cut so that you can be accurate, especially if you're in the market of starting your own wig business and you want to make sure that every wig is as close as possible to the previous one. If you want to cut the hair properly, always be eye level to the haircut. This tip is so important. Never cut past the second joint in your fingers because you want to avoid cutting yourself or making an uneven hairstyle. I know many of you struggle with making sure your bobs are even, so I like to pull my measuring tape out and measure the opposite side and give myself a marker to where I should be cutting to. And then I proceed to start from where I started from again and check my cut, which is called cross-checking. You want to always go back and start from the beginning and work your way around. This is the most important part of cutting, making sure you take the bulk out of the hair. You want to make sure you point cut so that the hair really flows nicely and looks more realistic like human hair instead of bundles. This is everybody's favorite part, creating baby hairs. So you just want to take out a small parting along the hairline and then cut it about 1 inch. You just want to smooth the hair in with a fine tooth comb, or maybe get a baby hair brush. That will really help give you the finished look.
That's what I say.